And we are live now. It is Aftermath, and this is Cali X Boxing with D-Style Boxing. And we had Jared Big Baby Anderson. We had Savannah Marshall against Cruz DeZern. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about, Abdullah came back. He looked good. Tiger Johnson looked good. Top Rank's got good young talent in that roster, man. Like good young talent to build off of. They know how to put on an event. Like they know how to put on an American event and get people buzzing about it. That atmosphere came through the screen. And shout out to Jesus M in the building, JC in the building already. Heavyweights under Top Rank. Let's see what we got. Nando's in here as well. Got caught slipping and didn't ask for today off. Yeah, you got caught slipping. Team Batman Boxing, appreciate you coming through.
How did not ask for a day off? I mean,
Andre Rodriguez, good afternoon, Calix, D-Style, and everyone in the chat. And I hope everybody, the people are out there with the extended weekend. Hope you're having fun. Do not blow your hands off tomorrow. Remember, you light that stem and you get out of there. You light the stem and get out of there. Don't blow things up. Don't blow your hands up. I had a friend, he lost his eyebrows for a while because of fireworks. So get the stem.
You're friends with Ugas?
Get the stem lit and get out. Get the stem lit and get out. All right. I stick to the sparklers, D-Style. I got the sparkler.
No, man. You got to get the Roman candles and shoot them at people.
No. I don't do any of that.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, bro.
I try to get to the party. There'll be neighborhood party tomorrow.
By the way, I hate the fact, what type of a weird, weak ass shit. They don't, bottle rockets are not allowed to be sold in Texas. No bottle rockets?
In Texas? What are y'all doing?
This is stupid, bro. You know what I mean?
Absurd.
They're too dangerous. Too many bad things have happened to people. Let me tell you something. The 4th of July fireworks, it was a good way to weed out the crayon eaters. You know what I mean? It was a good way to
right. Let Darwin take over in 4th of July. That's what you do. You just get out of the way, and that's what I do. I show up at the party.
I was 6 years old in the fucking bottle rockets, bro. My mom would just give them to me. She didn't know what the fuck, bro.
Yeah. I'll be at the family party early on, then at the neighborhood party later on, and I'll get my sparkler on. I'll let my kids do a couple things with the poppers and stuff, and I'm out of there. I'm trying to be home by 9 p.m. in bed in the fetal position, but the rednecks around me, they're gonna be.
But let me say this, in all honesty, not old Calix of today. I'm talking about prime Calix when we were 6 years old, prime fireworks Calix. You know what I mean?
There was no prime fireworks Calix.
Yeah, right. But here's the thing, right? He knows his kids are gonna listen to the show, and he's like, "See, not even I mess with fireworks." Right? But I'll tell you what it is right now. Okay, bottle rockets are not allowed. I think it's a travesty. All right. It's a travesty. I can't believe it. Who the hell got killed with a bottle rocket? I just don't understand. How did it happen?
It happened.
Everyone understood when you light that shit up, you kept running. Guess what? Sometimes that stem would run out and it wouldn't blow up, but we still found a way to make it go off. Right. And that's where the soldiers come in. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying. And then today you could buy those long lighters, that they use for the, for the grills and stuff. Should be all right.
And look, we'll be talking about this later on in the show. We're going to get to Benavidez, what I'd like him to see him do. Tim Tszyu, what I'd like him to see him do to that part of this equation. And because I heard interviews with Benavidez Sr. saying, we don't fight. We don't make the fights. PBC makes the fights. Samson doesn't make the fights. PBC makes the fights.
Oh, is that so?
We got some stuff to talk about.
Is that what we're saying? What we're saying, Samson ain't gonna do nothing, motherfucker. I'm not gonna make no deal with you, motherfucker. I'm gonna go talk to Al Heyman. I'm gonna talk to Al Heyman, not you, motherfucker.
Basically, that's what's going on. Before we get to that, we got a couple other things.
Samson said he was going to give him $50 million. If Samson said it, I'm going to believe it. Okay.
What did you think about the Savannah Marshall fight on Saturday? Because I got to be honest, dude, and I'll probably catch
Don't be
some heat for
sexist.
I'll probably catch some heat for this. And I texted you like the fourth round. I was like, dude, I can't do it anymore. I'm tapping out. This is terrible. That
It
was
was
a
pretty bad.
terrible fight. And not only that, I'm watching the fight and I'm texting you. I was like, how is this girl? Like, how is she the undisputed champion? And
Alex, so
she's a better singer than she is a fighter, D-Style.
oh man, we're getting canceled. Look at the numbers dropping right away right now. This is great. But here's the thing. Like the HCP stocks, like you know what I mean? Like, but look, here's the thing. Gotta be honest.
It was terrible.
And I just want to make sure people understand this. Like, I'm not talking about women's boxing in general. Like, I enjoy, the Cameron Taylor fight. You know what I mean? I like watching Cenas Estrada fight. I think she's good. I really like the Baumgartner Mayer fight. Like I even like the Shields fight with Marshall, even, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this was such a terrible. Just terrible. It was a terrible fight. Terrible. Like, you know what I mean? In the words of Charles Barkley, terrible. Just terrible. Look. I just.
It might not have been worse than the Prograis fight. It might not have been that bad.
Like, look, it's not even. There's two types of ugly. There's it's boring ugly. But here's the thing: there's this is boring ugly, but you still get that there's skill, like there's skill involved, like you know what I mean. They're just using the skill in a negative way. There's that type of boring, right? And then there's like ugly, like there's like, what the fuck is she doing ugly? Like, you know what I mean? Like flailing like this and like.
Why couldn't Savannah Marshall use her? Why couldn't she use her range? Like, does she not have it? Use your range. Use a jab.
It's. Here's what I'll say. Cruz looked horrible in the ring. Savannah looked okay. Savannah didn't look that good, like in the fight, but she was still light years ahead of her opponent, Cruz. I mean, Cruz has earned. And look, Alex, a lot of people like her. That she's a good person. She's personable. She's made a lot of relationships in the game. On the round table, you heard Lukey. Oh, I met her. I met her husband. She's such a nice person. She's just a good person. So a lot of people have an attachment to her.
But I wish her the best of luck.
Yeah. But I got to be honest about her fighting. Like I wasn't impressed. And people do look at that. I had a couple of friends text me like, this was an undisputed championship fight? She was the undisputed champion. Like this is some real ass shit. And I'll answer your question. How does it happen? Unfortunately, in the women's ranks, anything above 140 pounds, in my opinion, there's a drastic drop in talent. Mm-hmm. Because everything's in the numbers, right? The less people you have to compete, the less amount of people you have. Steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron. The reality is, man, a lot of Clarissa Shields' opponents were okay, but like people were saying the Zern was like her toughest fight before the Marshall fight. Mm-hmm. I thought it was more so Hannah Gabriel's, but even Hannah Gabriel's, like she moved up a couple weight classes, won the light heavyweight belt, the heavyweight championship. I'm like, what? Like it's just, I don't know, man. There's just not enough talent there. Like the women's rankings above 100. Below 140 pounds, I really don't have a lot of criticisms, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of talented girls down there.
Here's what they need to do.
Anything above 140, bro, I'm sorry. Look, just one more point. Harper, who's a good fighter. Like, I like Harper a lot. And Jonas, they're both good fighters, bro. Uh-huh. But, like, they jumped up several weight classes. Like, several. From 130 to 154, and, like, started dominating those girls up there. Why? Because they're far more talented. Like you're just like that's like imagine Navarrete moving up and like putting that work on Tim Tszyu, like beating the shit out of Tim Tszyu. Just try to imagine that for a second. Try to imagine Oscar Valdez jumping to welterweight and giving Errol Spence and Crawford the work. You know, I'm taking them to school. That's what Jonas and Harper did. That's unheard of in the men's rankings. But there's just after 140 pounds, there's a big drop off, bro, in talent. Like it's what it is.
I think I'm trying to picture a car getting broken into and somebody leaving WNBA tickets. But look, here's the thing. We can't fake it here. Like, we got to be real, especially if we want equality.
I had a gun pulled on me saying I have to go to a WNBA game or they're going to kill my family. I still didn't go.
My daughter's a basketball player, 6 years old, and she wants to be in WNBA. And I told her, you're going to be the one to make it interesting. Like, you're going to be the one to make it interesting. We're going to make this interesting. Like,
as long as she makes money.
Yeah. But at the same time, dude, I can't fake when a product is bad. And what I watched Saturday in that fight was just not good. It was this girl who's undisputed, and I'm watching her fight, and I'm like, how is that undisputed? And then I'm watching Savannah Marshall try to crack this code, and it's not a hard code to crack. And I'm like, why can't she use the jab? Just use
it wasn't the Da Vinci Code, right? It wasn't exactly the Rubik's Cube.
Dude, it was like boom, boom, boom. You should have had that.
This was like, does this go in the square or the triangle or the circle?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not in the Rubik's Cube, but I will say this though, she did crack her a couple times. She could take a punch. I will say that.
Yeah, she can. She can sing, dude. That national anthem was good. She can sing.
Like we weren't here talking like this about Tater versus Cameron. I thought that was a good fight. I think they're both very talented. You could tell. Again, we're not saying, oh, they're women bad. Oh, right. Me don't like women fight. That's not what this is. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe with Callie, but with me, I'm being, I see, Amanda Serrano fight. She could fight. Cindy says one of my favorite fighters to watch, male or female.
Skilled, you know what I mean? Highly skilled. I just think at this point, Savannah Marshall and Carissa Shields need to fight each other like 30 times. Just keep fighting each other and just pick a different spot each time. And because there's just nothing else out there for them. So I
will say this though, why don't they get Calix to go sing the national anthem? You didn't get Calix has shown his pipes here in the air, and he didn't get no call to go sing no national anthem.
I could do it. People have seen my skill and my talent level as far as singing, so I could do it. Jared Anderson, Big Baby Anderson. He fought Charles Martin. This is his first step up. 10-rounder. He's headlining, and that's good. All that's good. 10-rounder. You're in your fourth year. You're headlining, and what's good here is clearly a marketable guy. We've been talking about this for about a year now. You and I have both said, if you're going to pinpoint a guy who could be a big American superstar, it will be him. He's a heavyweight. He knocks guys out. He's got skill level. He's marketable. He understands the ring entrances. He understands the post-fight press conferences. But we've been seeing some red flags going in to talk about retirement. Larry Merchant had the great line, if a fighter's already talking about retirement, then he's already retired. He's got one foot out the door, it seems. He's talking about retiring at 26, 27. So there are red flags there. But this is we'll talk about the performance, but the thing that bothers me about this is fighters fight so seldom now that Jared Anderson is 2 years into his career or 4 years into his career. When he was his third year into his career, he turned into a twice per year fighter. And when you're doing that, you're fighting so little and you're giving us so little to go off of, because not only are you fighting just that small amount, but you're doing it against pedestrian competition. So we don't have much to go off of. So naturally, you're going to have people overreact both ways, right? When Jared Anderson puts on a great performance and knocks out a dude they pulled from the parking lot in 30 seconds, everybody's like, this is the greatest American heavyweight prospect since the 90s, since Riddick Bowe, which is fair because, he doesn't have much competition there since the 90s as far as American prospects, right? But you can't take the good that comes with overreaction and not take the bad. So when you're giving us so little to go off of, and you're putting on great performances, and then you step up against Charles Martin and every straight left is landing against you, and you're hurt twice. He was hurt multiple times in this fight. The fifth round, he was pretty much out on his feet. The end of the fight, I don't know if people caught this, but they actually rang the bell early when he was hurt. They rang the bell early. I don't know if people caught that. You can go back and watch
I didn't catch that, actually.
He was hurt. He was hurt late in that fight. So he was hurt multiple times. And there are things to look at and say he needs to improve on that. The defense, he needs to improve on his punch resistance. Looks a little iffy. And I don't want to see people say, oh, you're being too tough on a guy. I understand, dude. Boxing is littered with dudes who went on to be great fighters, champions. And I'm not saying Jared Anderson can't go on to do that, because I think he will. I think he will go on to be a champion. I understand guys put on bad performances early in their career and still go on to be great. Fair enough. But what I'm telling you is you can't separate the bad from the good when it comes to these overreactions. I don't want to hear dudes say, oh, you're being too picky. You're being too picky. The guy's young. He's 23 years old. Hometown fight. He's headlining, yada, yada, yada. Every time you bring something up, they bring out the excuses. And you weren't doing that when people were overreacting to the good things he was doing. You got to take the good with the bad. Possibly this is an overcorrection, right? We're way up here, maybe too high. We're overcorrecting. Who knows? We'll tell over time.
I don't know.
What are you thinking about this right now? Like overall Saturday night?
I just look. I take everything, like, to me, boxing, to quote the song "Amazing" by Aerosmith, life's a journey, not a destination. Okay. And far too often, boxing fans make the mistake, in my opinion, it's a mistake, of looking at boxing and the career of a boxer as a destination. And it's one thing if you're the manager, you're part of that team, and you have a plan in place and all that. I get that. But let's just follow the journey. You know what I mean? Let's look, that we if it's a journey, and this is a ride, he had some bumps in the road, right? He has a flat tire he needs to fix. Right. Making excuses as to why the tire's flat, while others have had flat tires before, while others have crashed, other people have had bumper to bumper crashes before too. Like making excuses doesn't help anything. Like, obviously, the only way you could fix a problem is if you acknowledge that there's a problem, right? I actually tweeted this out real time before he got hurt, and people could go check the timestamp. I said, Jared needs to fix that whole leaning back thing. I don't know if Fat Joe was rapping in the background. I don't know what was going on, but his feet were planted, bro, when he was leaning back, and maybe he's trying to do some type of pull counter. I'm not sure, or it's just a bad habit he has. But we never caught it before, and this is why you want to fight. This is why matchmaking is done. And as even Roberto Diaz said on the roundtable, it's the right fight at the right time, because if there's anything they need to fix, they're going to find out in this fight, but he'll be good enough to win even if disaster strikes, right? So, yeah, now you get to go back and you get to fix those problems before you jump in there with a real threat who was going to really make you pay, right? So now you go back, you fix those issues. Those are fixable issues, in my opinion. Not the chin. I've always said that it's heavyweight boxing. Yeah, like it's all, anyone could hurt anybody in heavyweight. I still remember when Tyson Fury was sitting next to David Haye, and David Haye was like, "I have the power. I have power he never seen," or whatever he was saying, right? And Tyson Fury rightfully said, "Of course he could hurt me, but I could hurt him too. This is heavyweight boxing. This is the one division where anyone could hurt anyone, because these are mammoths, bro. They're big motherfuckers, bro. Even the small guys are 6'4". Like, you know what I mean? 220 some odd pounds. Like, that's still not a small man. That's still a freight train hitting you when they're hitting you. And in the case of Charles Martin, what is he, like 6'6", 6'7"? He's big dude, bro. Like, this is a big, massive guy who, by the way, hurt Ortiz several times, was beating Ortiz in that fight, and then got caught and got knocked out himself. So, and he has a lot of experience. So, look, are there red flags? Sure. But I think they're fixable red flags. He can fix that in a gym. Like,
but it's fair to bring them up. It's fair to
You
bring those
have
things
to
up.
bring them up. If not, we're in denial.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't live in Egypt. So I don't live by the Nile. All right? I don't want to live in denial. That's not me. Okay? So we need to. That's why I tweeted it out when I saw it. A lot of people saw it, by the way, because it was obvious, right? The way he was leaning back, even if he didn't get caught by Martin and knocked him out early, I was still like that. He can't do that against like a Wilder right now. He can't do it against Anthony Joshua. He can't do those things against Tyson Fury or Usyk. They're going to exploit that, right? So look, a veteran like Charles Martin is supposed to bring out, if there's anything you need to fix, they're supposed to bring it out. And yes, you're right, Cal. We should point them out. It is something that if he doesn't fix, it's going to be a problem. Guys that don't fix their issues. Do you remember? And I remember you would say this about Broner. Broner's he's using the shoulder defense wrong because he stays too flat-footed. Yep. And I remember a lot of people would go at you and say like, well, he's winning. So what do you know? Like, what happened when he got in there with a guy like Maidana was throwing punches and bunches? Yeah. Maidana was getting him with the third, fourth, fifth punch, and that started to become an issue, right? And then Pacquiao, what did he do? Volume against him. Anybody who ever beat him, volume. He stays too flat-footed. So he never fixed it. Right. And the people that didn't point it out to him and the fact that he could have fixed it, but he didn't because they enabled it. Right. Yep. You don't want yes men around. You don't want to be yes men as fans. That's the worst thing you could do. Point out when you see something that a guy could work on, a guy could improve, and they're fixable, but he needs to improve them. Because if he doesn't, hey, and a lot of people, including myself, need to hold their horses. I was saying he's ready for a top 5. I'm going to take that statement back, in light of the new evidence, and say he should fight guys just outside the top 10. Like, in my opinion, keep him out of the top 10 at the moment. 2-3 more fights and then top 10. Because I saw a lot in this fight. I don't think he's ready for the top 10 as of right now, and that's okay. But I have to be honest. Like I thought a little too highly of Jared at this current moment.
You trusted the packaging.
Yes.
And this is what we talk about packaging, right? Packaging matters.
I bet knockout 1-4, bro. That was my bet.
Yeah, but the packaging matters because the market doesn't like when you package something a certain way and it gets to your home and you open it and it's like, that's not what I was expecting. And that's possibly what we saw Saturday night. I bet the over in the fight, because the over under was 3.5 rounds, even odds, and he was a 16-1 favorite. So the people out there saying, it's a hiccup. It's, yeah, it was good. He went 10 rounds. And yes, he can learn from it, but that's not what was supposed to happen. He was supposed to run through Charles Martin. That's what the pundits were saying. That's what the betting odds were saying. He was supposed to run through him. The reason I bet the over is hometown fight, first time headlining. I saw Regis Prograis firsthand a couple weeks ago. Those hometown fights, man, like a lot of times those fighters, they got a lot going on, tickets, and they're giving people tickets, and they got the family in their ear. And those hometown fights can be tricky. And I thought he would have some jitters. I thought he would have some problems figuring out Charles Martin until he eventually knocked him out, and he never knocked him out. And on top of that, he gets hurt twice. Now, let's talk about the positives. The positives are the guy is obviously a draw. The guy obviously has superstar potential. The guy is entertaining. He's entertaining. I mean, there's no question about that. He's entertaining. And vulnerable fighters and flawed fighters are even more entertaining. So he showed some vulnerability. That can be good with marketability too. He also showed that he can make some adjustments. He also showed that he has survival skills. Although Charles Martin didn't follow up well when he got Jared Anderson hurt, he only threw 20 punches in round 6. It was his lowest output. Maybe he threw himself out in the 5th round, perhaps. But he showed survival skills. He showed that he can go on and win round 6, 7, 8, 9, after losing round 5 big. So he showed things, right? He showed that he has some stamina. He showed that he can go rounds. And UD, a former champion with skills, with experience. So he showed all those things. But once again, that's not what we were expecting, and that's not what we were pitched, right? We were pitched this guy who's going to go in there and destroy everybody. And that's why I say you got to take the good with the bad that comes with overreactions. And you can't. People now are saying, oh, you need to lay back because he's just a prospect. That's not what you were pitching me. You were pitching me that this guy's already top 10, that he could already beat top 5 guys, that he's already that dude. And then now you're getting frustrated when we grade him on that curve. And it just doesn't work.
Depends though. Like, because I do see some people saying, oh, he's a total hype job. He's just, which I get some of that, but I just think,
that's bad though. That's
to me, like I don't want to go too overboard. Like I just think, look, at the end of the day, he won. I gave him. I only gave Martin 1 round personally. You could give him 2, but he did dominate the fight in that sense.
I gave him 2.
I wouldn't put him in there with a Joseph Parker yet. I wouldn't put him with a Ortiz yet. I would hold off a little. I think it's like 2-3 more fights, and then you could maybe throw him in there with a top 10 guy. The good news is that there's time. He's young, right?
Yeah, he's
the
young.
Other good thing is that he's exciting to watch. He's not like a boring heavyweight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's the problem with the he's young thing. He's talking about retiring at 27. So in those terms, he's not young. He's given himself a small window to do things, and he's out there saying during the week, before the fight, after the fight, I want to retire at 27. Here's my window. We got to move fast. And if financial stability comes before a championship fight, so be it. I'll never fight for a championship. When I start to hear those things, I wonder if that guy, no pun intended, has a dog in him to go out there and win legacy fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
of course. Yeah.
Certain fighters, I was talking to another content creator about this yesterday, and he was bringing it up. If you put him in there with a heavyweight that isn't as good, isn't as talented, but he has a dog in him, he needs to provide for his family. He needs to be in legacy fights. He needs to win fights. And Jared Anderson is looking at it like, I don't necessarily need this. I just want the payday.
You can make an argument, though.
That's a big deal. Remember, you brought this up before. Remember Cotto versus Margarito face off, and Margarito's like, I'm willing to die in the ring. And Cotto's like, that's crazy. It's just a sport.
Die.
Yeah. What are you doing? It's that thing. And when I see a fighter say things like, I'm going to retire at 27, I'm approaching this as business. And Mark Kriegel's asking him, do you even like boxing? He's like, I like what comes along with it. And what he means is I like the money that comes along with it.
But I want to comment a couple things about that, right? These are factors that matter. I'm not underestimating how they matter, but they matter to the individual at an individual basis, right? That there's no there's no universal, the guys that need it love it the most. Because you can make an argument that the one that doesn't need it, but does it anyway, is doing it because they love it. Whereas the other one is doing it because they need to do it. Right. So I think it works both ways. I think there's a balance with it that works both ways. I don't know if he's going to retire at age 27 or not. Right. I have no idea. Okay. But what I do know is that what I've seen from him, perhaps in the long run, and maybe it's not that much of a long run because I guess he's going to retire in his late 20s. Sometimes these hiccups, these opponents that make you look human and make you I see this as an opportunity to go back and fix those deficiencies, right? Go back and work on the things that opponent exploited for you, right?
Yeah.
So those are the lessons you could take with you. In the long run, these tough outings, if a fighter has the right attitude, end up being a blessing and a good thing, right? Because they fix them, right? I'm sure a young Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, when he was knocked down by Cooper and hurt, right? I'm sure they went back, right? And analyzed it to the best of their abilities, right? Black and white film back then, and I'm sure they understood or had to analyze, what did I do wrong? How did I get caught? And what do I need to do to make sure this doesn't happen again, or it doesn't happen against a Sonny Liston, right?
Yeah.
And he fixed them, right? Like fighters can fix these issues, and
it's harder
I
to
think it's
now though.
fixable. You
And
think
you
so?
know why? Yeah, because I was speaking to somebody about this earlier in the week before Jared Anderson even fought. And I was like, why isn't this guy more active? And they were telling me that, they talked to Bob Arum, and it's something to do with the minimum. They pay him a certain amount per fight. So you can't just put a guy in there with tomato cans forever when you're paying those type of minimums. You can't keep him active. So he only fought twice last year, and it was his third year as a pro. He's only 15 fights in. So it used to be, I helped train some kids with basketball, and you see them dribble around cones all the time. And it looks great when they're dribbling around cones, but then you get them out there in a regular game and they don't know what they're doing, simply because there's a difference between what they're doing in the gym training and real life, like actually going out there and competing. And I feel like these fighters now are perpetual training camp fighters. They're part-time fighters. So it's harder for them to learn the mistakes that fighters from previous generations were able to learn from quicker, because they were actually in there making mistakes early on and learning from them quicker.
Well, I'll tell you what, Calix, I think he learned more out of this fight than his previous 14.
That's what I'm saying. But when's the next time we're going to see him in a fight like this? Is it going to be next year?
I'm not sure. I mean,
back in the day, it would have been.
But here's the thing, though: he draws in his hometown, so that can offset a lot of the minimum or whatever he needs to pay him, right? So a good gate can always help that out. You know what I mean? I don't know what the gate was though. So
7,000 plus over there. 7,000 plus. It was nearly a sellout.
I guess by gate I mean, because what we're talking about is the money. How much money did they make at the gate?
Right. But I'm just telling you, that's a good start when you get over 7,000 for a late replacement. And yeah, Charles Martin, but late replacement, you got over 7,000 there for your first headliner. They got something there.
And I need to say this before we move on. Top Rank, this is just my opinion, is the best when it comes to these type of fights in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Like prospect level or domestic level. Sometimes you could say championship level. I'm not talking about mega pay-per-view attractions, right? I'm talking about this level of fight.
Yep.
Top Rank is the best, and they do it at a consistent basis.
By far.
And they do it because they have the right matchmakers. They have an apparatus or well-oiled machine. And look, I get all the arguments. Hey, once you make it to a certain level, they can't quite, like, they got it there with De La Hoya, though, so I don't know if that's an accurate assessment. But with Floyd, and then later on, like even with Crawford, they couldn't quite get him that big pay-per-view event. So I get that. But at this level, they do such a great job. I mean, it doesn't it feel good to see a sold out arena or packed arena, and you get the energy, and you could, like when Crawford fought in Nebraska, Stevenson in Newark, this fight, right? Toledo, Ohio. Like, you know what I mean?
Stevenson's drawing over 10,000 twice.
Yeah, so like they know what they're doing, bro. And it's look at the contrast to, and I'm gonna get accused of, because 1 month I'm pro Matchroom and now I'm against Matchroom apparently, like whatever. But Eddie Hearn is having a very hard time duplicating this. He just is. Because he doesn't have the machine behind it like Top Rank does. Okay, Arum and company, they know what they're doing. That's why when you remember when Teofimo was crying about the fight not being at the big house against Taylor, and that's because Top Rank knows, bro. Like they knew it wasn't going to sell out the big house. And I think that sucks, but they knew it wasn't. So they put in a 5,000 seat Garden Theater. The atmosphere was better than if it was in a half empty Madison Square Garden. Right? Yeah. That's just the way it is, right? So I think Eddie Hearn can't quite duplicate this. I know people cited me on Twitter.
Over there he can, but not in America.
Yeah, here he's having a hard time with it. Now, of course.
You want to know why? You want to know why that is? It's because Top Rank does the best job still of the farm system. They have guys. They got a ton of young talent. A ton. We saw Abdullah Mason. We saw Tiger Johnson. So they stack these cards full of prospects that are going to look good, and then they have their main event there, and they do it because they have the young talent. They have the numbers to be able to put on a card like that. And I'm with you. It's great to see a non-casino fight where it belongs. It's great to see that buzz come through the screen.
Yes.
And Top Rank's the best at it. And it's
They're the
simply
best at
because
it. Now,
they
just to
work from the
finish
bottom
my,
up.
I just want to say, you give Top Rank Fundora, he ain't fighting in an arena that's 3/4 empty. It's not going to happen, bro.
They're
going to put him in the right spot, okay? And if that means you put him in a 2,000-seat arena, it is what it is, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But like they know what they're doing. And sometimes when it's not going to be like a lot of people, if it's going to be like 3,000 or 4,000, they put it like somewhere that it has a good view, like an armory or like a casino or like where it makes sense. You know what I mean? And so they know they know the regions, they know the areas, they know the matchmakers around there, they know the buzz fighters have in that area. Another issue Eddie Hearn has, do you remember the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Ashley started singing and was going to launch a singing career, and the Fresh Prince, Will Smith, wanted to become his manager, right? And he started planning the tour. Well, we're going to go to Miami, and then we're going to go to New York, and then we're going to go over to LA, and then we're going to go over here to Washington, Seattle, Washington. Like it was like all over the place, right? It was like, whoa, like you can't do a tour like that. Like you're flying, like what the hell are you doing? But Eddie Hearn does that. 1 week he's in Sheffield, okay?
I remember that episode.
The guy's in Sheffield, right? And then next week he's in Sydney, Australia. And then he's back in Bristol, England, and then he's like in Ireland, and then he's in New Orleans, and then he goes back to England, then he's in Mexico, then he's back to like somewhere in Europe, and then he goes back, like he's like the dude showing, like, bro, he showed up to New Orleans on Thursday, the day of the media event. When did he promote the event, bro? When was Eddie Hearn promoting Regis Prograis in New Orleans?
You're saying he needs to delegate? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and that's the perfect word, because that's what Bob Arum does. When Bob Arum when Top Rank promoted George Kambosos, Devin Haney, they had an Australian promoter take care of that knows the area, that knows how to sell tickets there. That's what they did. When it's in England, he lets Frank Warren take care of it, or a boxer take care of it. If it's a McKilla Mayer fighter, he delegates. Eddie Hearn doesn't. Eddie Hearn was making fun of Arum because he delegates. Mm-hmm. You should be delegating. You need a figurehead for Matchroom USA in the United States. That's what Eddie Hearn needs, in my opinion.
Oscar needs a delegator too again, because
Oscar needs a lot of things.
Oscar needs a lot of things.
Oscar needs to start tweeting about Ortiz Staniones is what he needs to do instead of Eddie Hearn.
Yes, he does. And he needs to make Munguia versus Belenga. But here's another thing that bothers me. It really bothers me about ESPN. God, ESPN, they just can't get out of the way. I'm glad we got big fights on ESPN. It's beautiful. We're giving fighters exposure. But, man, do they need to streamline these cards better. We've been speaking about this for years. And they need to stop with the talking head so much. Mark Kriegel, oh, my God. Dude.
You don't like Mark Kriegel.
Oh, my God. It's not – he's probably a nice guy, D-Style, and he seems like he's good at his job.
Anytime somebody says he's probably a nice guy, they're about to shred him.
Yeah, but it's too much of it. Too much Mark Kriegel. Jared Anderson is selling out 7,000 seat stadiums. Basically,
as a chewing gum, by the way. Look, here's the thing. Is he?
Listen, he's selling out 7,000 seat stadiums already, and he's not all that interesting outside the ring, and he's doing it. It's because of what he's doing in the ring. All right. And I feel like ESPN needs to get out of the way with the talking heads and just allow these dudes to be themselves in the ring and show more of that. I'm tired of the clock at the top. Next fight, 12 minutes. Next fight, 10 minutes. Like, why can't you just get to a fight right now? And then we got to hear Mark Kriegel. Dude, Jared Anderson has a dog. Did you know that? Did you know that Jared Anderson has a dog? Were you aware?
Yeah, I saw people tweeting that, by the way. Oh, man, I didn't know he had a dog. Like,
he's got a dog, and his dog's name is Azul, and his dog is 105 pounds.
Azul means blue in Spanish.
I know what type
His
of dog
dog, is he Mexican, his dog?
I know what type of dog it is. I know what his dog's hobbies are. I know that he likes to train with his dogs. How do I know all this? Because Mark Kriegel is interviewing this dude about the dog, and they keep showing it 5 times instead of showing fights.
ESPN is mainly a male audience, bro. Okay, that's your demographic. 18 to 35. That's the main audience for ESPN. Okay, males. Big demographic, by the way. And if you look at their commercials, by the way, tailored to men, right? But that sounds like they're trying to get someone's girlfriend, a fight fan's girlfriend, interested in the guy, or my grandmother. You know what I mean? Like my grandma might care about the dog, and if he has a dog, and that might make her like, oh, I have a dog too. Oh, I'm gonna share for him, like whatever. But if you want men to not change the channel, just show highlights of all his knockouts. That's all you need to do.
That's it.
Boom, boom. Oh my God! Oh, he knocked him out. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, he's coming out to the ring. That's it.
Show fights, and my 8-year-old's getting into boxing, and I'm trying to keep him awake for the main event, and I'm trying to tape his eyes open so he can see Jared Big Baby Anderson knock somebody out. That's what I'm
you have a dog. Well, why don't you ever tell us about your dog?
And instead of achieving that, I can't do it because Mark Kriegel's got to interview this dog, 27 times about his dog, and then they got to pan to him getting taped while his dog is sitting there, and his dog's doing tricks. His dog's sitting. His dog is going down. His dog's doing the hand thing, and he's playing dead. And I'm like, dude, it's a dog. I get it. It's a dog. It's a dog. I got dogs. I love dogs. It's a dog. I understand. We
heard more about this dog. Okay, if this dog is so tough, put him in there in the ring with the dog that fought Tim Tszyu. What's up?
But listen, I know he wants to retire at 27. He has a dog. 5 minutes later, he wants to retire at 27. He's got a dog. 10 minutes later, he wants to retire at 27. He's got a dog.
You heard the Joe Schmidt song? I got a car. I got a dog.
I can see a fight. Okay, Tiger Johnson. Great, Tiger Johnson fight. And then 15 more minutes of he's got a dog. He wants to retire at 27. And it's like, okay, we got a fight coming up. Oh, another Abdullah Mason versus an Uber driver. Okay, at least I get to see Abdullah Mason. Can I get some main event now? No, 12 minutes to the main event. You want to know what though? You want to know what? He's got a dog.
He's got a dog.
This guy, Jared Anderson, he's fighting on the main event. He's got a dog. And guess what? He wants to retire
at 27. Park. Ain't that something? I like to pet him. Ain't that something? I like to throw fish with my dog. He's got a dog.
He's got a dog. So I'm thinking of this, and I'm like, is the dude that uninteresting to where all we're hearing about is his dog? Is there something else to talk about? I feel like Mark Kriegel, and nothing against Jehovah's Witnesses, probably great people, but they're persistent. Like, hey, have you heard about the Watchtower? Have you heard about the Watchtower? I got the same people that knock on my door, I swear, like every 3 weeks. You heard about the Watchtower? I heard about it. Yeah.
I got it.
I respect it. I got you. You're doing this out in the heat. You're sweating. I respect that. Brother. But Mark Kriegel's like that. Have you heard about this guy, Jared Anderson? Jared Anderson, he's got a dog.
By the way, this dog
made his way out of Toledo so he could come back.
Really quick, though. Really quick, I heard that when DMX would say, "Where my dog's at?" he was talking about that dog.
But look,
I heard. Who let the dogs out? Remember that song?
I'm sitting there.
Who let the dogs out? Mark Kriegel. Like now we know who the fuck let the dogs out.
I'm sitting there waiting for a fight, and then knock on the door. Hi, my name's Mark Kriegel. Have you heard about Jared Anderson? Oh, yeah. Well, he's got a dog. His name is
hold on.
It's 105 pounds. It's black. It likes to swim. It likes long walks on the beach and bubble baths.
But there's something you're not mentioning, though. Did you know he has a canine?
Who?
Jared, he has a canine.
He has a canine?
He has a canine. Now, but does this dog even do anything interesting? Or does it do tricks? Like, is it a championship winning dog or something? Like, or is it like
it likes to train with them? It likes.
Does the dog have like a YouTube channel at least? Because I know dogs that have like 1 million followers on Instagram. Does it have that? Like, what's so interesting about this dog?
But this is I joke around, but ESPN gets locked in on something and they cannot stop. It was Ali Walsh. He's Muhammad Ali's grandson. And like the third time I heard it, it's like, okay, he's Muhammad Ali's grandson. And then the fourth time I heard it, I was like, yeah, here we go. Fifth time, sixth time, we get it. Muhammad Ali's grandson. I got it. Have you heard about Mark Kriegel comes out? Have you heard about Teofimo Lopez and his mental illness? Have you heard about his relationship with his father and his broken relationship with his ex-wife? Like, yeah, Mark, I heard about it 27 times already. I got it. I got it. They get locked in on something. It's like a pit bull. They cannot let go. Lomachenko's juggling. Oh my God. I'm a Lomachenko fan, D-Style. But if I have to hear another time that this dude is a juggler, my son's 8 years old. He can juggle. I get it. He can juggle tennis balls. He wraps the tennis ball rope around his head and he jabs at it. I get it. He has.
Well, that's better than a dog. But
he has weird new age training techniques. We get it. You told us this every single fight. How about you show a fight?
I just want to know, though,
streamlined.
Like so much coverage for the dogs in boxing. Like we had a dog that attacked a little kid, and then it ended the whole division after that kid, right? Like, you know what I mean? And then Tim Tszyu gets attacked by dog, all right? And then now we're featuring a dog like for 20 minutes, a dog that doesn't do anything. Like it's just
he's just sitting there. He's just sitting there in the
no offense to the dog. What the hell are you doing?
And I like the dog. I got 2 dogs. I love dogs, man.
That's all dogs do.
I love dogs, but you know what I love? Like, I love not hearing about dogs on TV and watching actual fights. And ESPN just gets locked in on a certain thing, and you have to hear it 20 times before you get to a fight. Every single time. Have you heard about Lomachenko's juggling? He is
was the dog one of the puppies in the Super Bowl?
Have you heard that Lomachenko can juggle 3 balls at the same time while he's doing some boxing training in the middle of some boxing training? We got it. Have you heard about Teofimo's broken relationship with his father? We get it. I saw it. Yes, I got that. Have you heard about Jared Anderson's dog named Azul that weighs 105 pounds and likes long walks on the beach and bubble bath?
By the way, Valdez has an alligator. Remember they're going to shut up about that?
Valdez has an alligator. And I don't care, dude. I can't tell you how little I care about all these things. You know what I care about? I care about dudes punching each other in the face. And I care about dudes getting knocked out. And I care about seeing good fights. And I care about keeping my 8-year-old up for the main event. And instead, I gotta watch.
It's not Mark impressive, Kriegel. Bro. Like so what as a dog,
dude? Mark Kriegel was probably a great human being. Give that dude a show on the side. Max Unboxing's canceled.
On Animal Planet, apparently.
Give Mark Kriegel a show. Just
I gotta be honest, Calix. Like people on Animal Planet wouldn't give a shit about that piece. Like, you know what I mean? Like the dog is like, what are we doing?
No disrespect. But Azul was like the least interesting dog of all time. It's just chilling. It's just chilling there.
Like, Azul's just like, I don't even think Azul liked the piece. He's like, well, fuck this shit. I don't want to be on TV. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, get me the fuck out of this television.
He wanted to be home. He didn't want no part of that locker room or being out there by the crowd.
Azul was this close from having, bro. He was this close. Azul was this close from attacking Mark Kriegel and would have had a Kriegel division. Right,
and that might have been good for everybody, but listen to me.
Aside from the division, for sure.
Give that dude a show on the side. We got, and look, I like Tim Bradley, but he's cracking open snacks on the show, and then Andre Ward gets let go right after the thing. Max Kellerman gets let go by ESPN. We really need them to. They got too many dudes.
Can we get Max Kellerman to replace Mora on the zone?
They got too many dudes. Yeah, they got too many dudes in the kitchen cooking. Like, give us like two.
Tell me you would prefer Max Kellerman and Ward on commentary over what we have on the zone.
I would, but I'm gonna tell you, Max Kellerman's too expensive for a lot of these dudes. I'm just telling you that right now. So Max Kellerman will pop up on. Max Kellerman will pop up on the MLB network or something like that.
No, but like, here's the thing. Like, you just got to get them for like fights. You don't have to have them working every day. You know what I mean? Like, you can have another gig on the side. But
he ain't going to Showtime. I know that. So
they gave Mikey Garcia $7 million to fight Jesse Vargas. They got money.
No. But he doesn't have a good relationship with Al Heyman. So it'll be the zone.
The zone.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be the zone. Somewhere. Yeah, if he pops up somewhere, it'll be the zone. But ESPN's got to chill, man. Like they gotta. Somebody has to tell these dudes when they get locked in on something. No, reel it back in. Reel it back in. We don't need to hear about Vasily Lomachenko's juggling anymore. We don't have to hear about Jared Anderson's dog anymore. I swear to God, dude. If the next Jared Anderson fight, they do another special on Azul, I might break my TV.
Because Azul isn't like what does he do? Like it's just like
he doesn't do anything. He's a mascot just chilling there. But when you're at a football game, do they do specials about the mascot 27 times before the actual game? They don't.
Somebody just mentioned him. Speaking of having to chill, I just need to mention this. Teddy Atlas has to chill, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every random UFC fight on a Wednesday is like a Thriller in Manila, like Gotti Ward, Hagler Hearns. I'm just like, even the MMA fans are like, okay, chill, Teddy. Like at this point, bro. Like they're like, okay, like.
What happened to that dude, man?
I don't know, man.
He's ridiculous.
A dude will kick somebody in the face and he'll be like, oh, that reminded me of Jersey Joe Walcott when he fought Joe Louis and he landed a left hand on the great Joe Louis. Like, what are you talking about? Like, stop, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he's taking sacred shit from boxing and like comparing it to some middle of the road MMA fight that no one, even in the MMA community, gives a fuck about. No. You know what I mean? Yeah. At first, it was cute. Even they were entertaining it, right? I remember, at first, the fight, like I remember he compared like some random fight to Gotti Ward, right? And the fighter went like he quote tweeted Teddy. He said, "Oh wow, that's such an honor to have that comparison. I love Gotti." Blah blah blah. The fighter stopped doing it because he's giving it to everybody. Like every week, everyone's a legend. Everyone is doing legendary stuff over there. Every week they're doing Hagler Hearn type shit. Every week in the UFC.
Yeah.
Every week, like, give me a break, bro. And you watch it, you're like, that's no Hagler Hearn. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
I do miss when he was doing those pre-fight game plans with the Mexican assistant, and when he used to like curse judges out live on air. So that's I miss Friday Night Fights. I miss ESPN Friday Night Fights. I thought ESPN Friday Night Fights was actually more cohesive and more organized than what we get from ESPN these days.
We need, by the way, we need something like a Friday Night Fights. I know I've preached about that every week almost. We need it. Like boxing needs it bad. Or a Boxing After Dark type show somewhere. Like somebody needs it. The Showbox isn't doing that. Showbox has become like PBC's leftovers that just put them on there. Like that's what Showbox has become.
Yep.
So
so just to wrap it up on Jared Anderson before we get into the Benavidez talk. A lot to work on and a lot to work with. I think that was the best way to put it. I think I saw that in Steve Kim's article. Is a lot to work with, a lot to work on. You know, I think that's a good assessment of it. Is you got a lot with this guy. You do. You have a lot of talent. You have a lot of entertainment value. You have superstar quality. But I just wonder, and this is the main part. We can talk about defensive deficiencies with him catching a lot of straight lefts, him getting hurt. But like you said, it's heavyweight division. Stuff happens. My big thing is how into it is this guy. If he's talking about retiring at 26, 27, I got to wonder, you know, I got to wonder how into it he is. So to me, it's more a mental thing, right? How mentally is he into this? So I think to wrap it up on Jared Anderson, there's a lot of positive there, but there were some red flags that have popped up this past week that are too much to ignore. And I think it's fair to bring that up. It's fair to bring that up, right?
I agree with that.
Yeah, so that's a good wrap up of it, I think. Now, Benavidez. I saw his dad do another interview this week, and I think it was with Boxing Scene.
And the bass in the voice is gone, huh?
He's basically saying a lot of the stuff we've been saying, that we don't make the fights. We don't know if we're part of Canelo's 3-fight deal. We know we're part of the play somewhere, and that we don't even know who we're fighting next. We don't know what our 3-fight deal looks like. We don't know who we're fighting next. And that's a change of tune from what we've been hearing as far as
La
agreement.
bandera blanca. White
Yeah.
white flag already.
And it just seems like chaos. Just chaos, chaos, chaos. But one thing we know for sure that we've been speaking on up to this point is Al calls the shots. And Al's going to tell him who he fights next. And they're going to fight him. Whoever it is that he's going to fight is going to come from Al. It's not going to come from Samson. And David might not even know until it's time to sign on the dotted line. So I'm hoping it's Morrell Jr. I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay. For the people who think that's a little too difficult for him, I would wonder why. Why do you think that's too difficult for him? And I'm starting to see some people say, well, why does he have to do the heavy lifting and Canelo's fighting smaller guys? Well, he's got a lot of catching up to do for one.
Well, he's not doing the heavy lifting. That's the point.
And on top of that, even if he is, he's got a lot of catching up to do, because one big fight in 9 years, you got to fight the fights. So for me, I'm going to just say this. My expectations are different on the surface of Benavidez. I think he's a good fighter, so I expect him to do good things, not great things. So if it's Munguia or Berlanga, it's like whatever. Be fun fights. But once again, it goes down to packaging, right? The packaging on the David Benavidez product is what? Mexican monster, greatness, feared. So Munguia, Berlanga, that's not acceptable. It's just not acceptable for a product like that next. And Morrell Jr. is acceptable. It's a fight. You're both advised by the same advisor. It's an easy fight to make. Go ahead and make the fight. Am I wrong for thinking that?
Look, I mean, here's a couple of things. Because I know I always anticipate what people are going to say. You know, it's predictable at this point. And unfortunately, we're kind of in a spot where we got to unpack stuff, right? The truth sometimes takes unpacking, but if you follow it, it always makes sense, where the lies and narratives don't, but they're not in a position to unpack anything. They just make claims, right? So here's the thing. You're correct when you say Benavides has a lot to catching up to do with Canelo, like for sure. But I know, like I already know what the response to that is, right? The response is, why does Benavides need to catch up, but Yildirim didn't have to catch up, and Ryder didn't have to catch up, and Jermell didn't have to catch up, and he was going to fight Jermell, and he didn't have to catch up. So why does Benavides have to catch up? Like, it's always like, if he didn't have to do it, why do we need to do it, right? Here's the deal, guys. If you're going to position yourself to be picked, then you can't get mad when you're not picked.
Yeah.
All right? That's number one. Second, a lot of those fights, the devil's in the details. Like, Yildirim was a tune-up in between two big fights against two champions, right? Ryder was officially a mandatory, and if you look at the landscape, he beat some top 10 super middleweights on the lead up to that, right? Like, that's just the truth. Now, look, Benavides beat Plant. That was good enough for me. I want to see the Benavides fight with Canelo. It's a fight I want to see, but that's just not what we're going to get. So what I'm looking at right now is he has two options. He can sulk and complain and throw insults Canelo's way and say Canelo's ducking him and this, that. And I'm not going to fight anybody until I get Canelo. He could do that and hope Canelo picks him, but he could do that. Or he could make his own way. And he can say, you know what? We're not going to chase Canelo like they've been saying, and we're going to go straight to Morrell, right? And we're gonna put so much public pressure on Canelo, right, to where it's going to look really bad if he doesn't fight me if I win this fight. Because there is a fighter, we haven't mentioned his name yet, that did do that with Jermell, right? Segue to that right now really quick. I'll just segue to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tszyu, I believe, is just going to move on. He's going to go chase those belts, right? And he's going to make his own way. He, like his manager, I saw him on Deep Dive earlier today. Give us a shout out, by the way. So shout out to him. But he said, look, we're not going to sit here and feel sorry for ourselves because we didn't get the fight we wanted. We are disappointed. It was Tim's dream to fight for Undisputed, but he could still make that dream a reality, but it just won't have Jermell's name on it. And just moving forward, like that's all you could do, right? Jermell didn't, quote unquote, pick Tim. He picked Canelo, right? In a sense. Tim obviously is upset about it. Like I'm sure Benavides is upset, right? That he didn't get the Canelo fight. I think they both rightfully should be upset, but here's the issue. Tim Tszyu's already fought his morale when he went in there with
Harrison.
I was going to say Herring for some reason. Harrison, all right? And he was already considered the second best. This is the guy that had a win over Jermell. Imagine Benavides like fighting someone who had a win over Canelo, like a Bivol. Okay? Like that's almost, not quite, because Jermell knocked him out of the rematch, so I'm not saying it's completely the same, but it's almost there, right? So he's already done those things. He's already gone after the second best option, and people were calling it dumb, Calix. Fans are saying that was a stupid move. Why would you do that? Harrison said, I wouldn't have done it. I would have waited for Jermell. I wouldn't have risked it against Tim Tszyu. I wouldn't have done it. I think it's a dumb move that he's fighting me. Well, you would have looked really dumb waiting a whole year, Harrison. Because guess what? He would have fought Canelo instead of you in a trilogy for sure. Right? So this is why you don't wait. This is why you have to keep moving forward. It's not how much you could take. It's how much you get. Like, that's how winning is done. I'm sorry. Like, you got to keep moving forward, bro. Like that's what Tim Tszyu's going to do. Tim Tszyu is a good example of a fighter that's just going to move on. And he's saying, I'm going to come for those belts, come hell or high water. And they're already saying whether they upgrade me to the WBO, whether he comes back down or not, I don't care. I'm coming after those belts. And that's the attitude Benavides needs to have. Okay? Benavides needs to clear the road, bro. Right? This is his opportunity to do it at the end of the day. And I'm seeing a lot of changing of the tune of his dad. His dad was talking a lot of greasy stuff, if we're honest. So was Samson. Like, you know what I mean? But everyone knew he was not going to make a direct deal with Samson. Like I don't care what Espinosa said. And you know what I mean? Like, we all knew he was going to work directly with Al, right? We all knew that. So now Benavides and Tim, they're in the similar situation, all right? But what's the difference? At least at the moment, it looks like Tim Tszyu's going to pursue the best available options at 154, right? So is Benavides going to go for the next best available option at 168? Is he going to do that? Is he going to pursue that?
Who is Morrell Jr.?
It could be Morrell Jr. Shit, I'll even take Morrell Jr. right now. That's who it is. Yeah,
it should be Morrell Jr. What do you think the WBO at 154 is going to do? I heard there should be making an announcement soon.
The thing is,
this is what makes it tricky. This is what makes it tricky. Is they're clearly marketing Canelo versus Mel as undisputed versus undisputed. Right. So if you promote Tim to main champion at WBO at 154,
the 154 belts are not on the line though. So that doesn't really matter.
They're not, but if he loses the WBO before the fight, it's technically not undisputed versus undisputed.
And nobody's going to care.
Nobody's going to care, but can you market it that way?
Well, I know what you're saying, though. Is it possible that, even Canelo, like, hey, yeah, I want him to be called undisputed, so here you go, motherfucker. It's 30,000. Like, you know what I mean? Keep him as champion. Is that possible? Yes, but look, they make shit up as they go, so they could come up with some weird ass like shit.
Do you think? I'll
tell you what they might do. They might call Jermell the super champion, WBO super champion, and then because they do have a super champion WBO, I don't know if you know that, right? So they might call him the super champion, and I'm not joking. Like, they might do that, and then they might call Tim the WBO champion.
Do you think they would do something like this? They would say,
if I'm
"Hey,
Tim
we
Tszyu,
gave
bro,
you."
Here's what I'm saying. If I'm Tim Tszyu, I got a bag. I'm a draw in Australia. I'm a pay-per-view star in Australia. You want this 3%? You're going to call me the real champion. That's what I would do with Tim Tszyu. I don't give him 3% as an interim champ. I don't. Okay, I spit on it. And I throw it back at their face, and I keep my 3% for myself. And I go to Hawaii with my family with that money instead. How about that, motherfuckers? Okay, so if I'm Tim Tszyu, that's what I do. That's me. Now I'm not Tim Tszyu, so he might not care. I don't know. Okay, but by the way, yes, Canelo said that for Tim. All right, but look, I think the right thing to do, and I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I think you agree. The right thing to do is to upgrade him to WBO, and then I believe like there's a Russian that's like, I forget the Russian's name by the way, but he's right there to be like as a mandatory, like right there, and that's a fight they could do right in the meantime, but. If I'm Tim Tszyu's team, bro, and I know I'm all over the place, but if I'm Tim Tszyu's team, I'm going after Mendoza, and I'll tell you why, right? Those highlights of Mendoza knocking out the towering Inferno, Fundura, look really good on a package. And you show that side by side with Tim Tszyu knocking out Ocampo and this guy knocking out Fundura, and then you could get one of those vacant belts and they could fight for it. That's something they could do. I mean, very quickly can Tim Tszyu become a unified champion. They got a
good relationship with PBC. They can do a lot of things at 154.
Well, I don't know how good it's going to be, and I don't have any intel on that, but I'm just guessing. I don't know how it's going to remain.
What did Glenn tell us last week? He said we cut out the noise and we simply make fights. I don't think they're going to burn bridges or.
No, I don't think they're going to burn bridges either. But keep in mind,
I think they're looking at it like
mentioned earlier today, Callie. He mentioned that they're not ruling out a possibility of a Liam Smith fight.
And I love that fight. That's the one right. That's what I was going to throw out. Liam Smith fight. Liam Smith's coming off a big win. That would be a big fight, whether you do it in Australia or the UK. I think that's a fight they should explore.
If I'm the sanctioning bodies, right, I want that belt on Tim Tszyu. Because two reasons. He's clearly the best if Jermell's no longer there. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Second, he's the most marketable and the biggest name out of all of them.
No, but what I was going to throw out is it possible that they're going to have their cake and eat it too here? That the order was you fight Tim Tszyu by September 30th, and I'm wondering what the September 30th.
Bro, there's a simple answer to everything, bro. Like you make him super champion of WBO, WBA, franchise champion WBC. IBF doesn't have that, but they'll probably not strip him of that one. Yeah.
So you allow Jermell Charlo to fight undisputed versus Canelo. That way you can call it that. And then October 1st, you make that phone call. Hey, we're stripping you or whatever. Hey, we need you to vacate that belt because Tim Tszyu is about to fight in a couple of weeks and we need to elevate him to full champion. They could do something like that too. I'm assuming all of this is worked out already. I'm assuming all parties involved came together and said, hey, Canelo, we need to make this undisputed. Hey, Mel, Al, we need to make this undisputed. So we'll do this thing over here. And then, hey.
I'll be honest with you, though. If he gets stripped, it's not going to affect the promotion. Only boxing nerds on YouTube are going to be like, well, it's not really undisputed because he got stripped of the belt. And if you go to WBC. If you go to WBO.org.com, it doesn't have him listed as a champion. Go to page 6, click on it, scroll down, go to super middleweight, junior middleweight. He's not there.
I feel disrespected.
Like, are people like, is my uncle, we're going to go to the WBO website and confirm if he's a champion? Is he going to go to BoxRec? Like, only you boxing nerds do this, bro. Like ain't nobody else do this. They're going to put the poster and people are going to just buy it, bro. I'm just saying.
Yeah, whether it's 10 belts, whether they have 10 belts, whether they have 9 belts, whether they have 8 belts combined, it is what it is, right? It's a marketable fight.
Here's another fight they could do. Dennis Hogan, is he IBO champion? I guess.
I'm telling you what they need to do. They need to make Tim Tszyu versus Liam Smith. That's the fight they need to make.
You don't want to see the Mendoza fight, bro?
No, I do. It's a good fight, but
I think it's a better fight.
Liam Smith's coming off of a big win. Is he not?
I'm more impressed by the Mendoza. Like, just look at the packaging.
It's a big win too. But you know, it's a
Tszyu
bigger
will be
win over
facing
there.
Mendoza, the conqueror of the Towering Inferno, and they could show him like landing that big right hand, and the Towering Inferno just falls. You know what I mean? Think about it.
Liam Smith knocking out Chris Eubank Jr. is probably universally seen as a bigger win than Mendoza beating Fundora, knocking out Fundora. I think so. No, there were like 12 people. There was like 12 people at that Fundora fight.
Hey, those 12 people had a lot of passion, though. Okay, they had a lot of heart. Like, you know, they were really, you know what I mean? Like, they were into that fight. I'm just saying. No. I get what you mean. Like, but it's only in it wasn't big in the U.S. or in Australia. Ain't nobody care about no Liam Smith in Australia or the U.S.
Yeah, really? I think you need to make that fight over there, make that fight, and I think they can make it quick. Belt, no belt, whatever. Just make the fight. Tim Tszyu's a star.
So somebody's suggesting like Tim Tszyu against Maul. Like, wouldn't that be a twist of fate? Wouldn't that be like, what?
That would be shocking.
I would be like, then why do you take the Canelo fight, you idiot? Like, what are you doing? Like, what? You know what I mean? But look, Maul's going to come back in a tune-up, guys. Like, and I think that's the main reason. It was weird that he doesn't fight Canelo supposedly, or maybe he was never really in the cards. Who knows? But all I know is this: look, Tszyu Smith is a good fight. It is, and I'll tell you what. Glenn Jennings in the interview today, deep dive with that's the name of the channel. He didn't rule out it being in the UK. He brought up the name Liam Smith because they asked him, "What about fighting in the UK?" And he brought up Liam Smith. Oh, the name of Liam Smith has been brought up. Right. So here's the thing. I don't know if they still have like an exclusive deal, like where the TV rights in the US have to be in PBC or not. Because Tim isn't like he's not a PBC fighter. Like, you know what I mean? He's a no limit fighter, but the rights to Tim's fights were owned by PBC in the US, right? Does that make sense?
He's a contractor.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If he's not, I'm sure, look, bro, I'm sure the zone would pay to get that fight on the zone for the UK and the US, and Australia has the zone too, so it could be a win all across the board, really. You know, it might be on pay-per-view in Australia, but the zone might want some of that pay-per-view money from Australia.
And I was told by multiple dudes out in LA that the PBC killed the StubHub. They just absolutely destroyed it. But as far as Benavidez, I'll just give you a percentage wise. What do you think the percentages of that fight happening before the end of the year are? Benavidez versus Morrell.
I think I give that fight. I'm 50-50 with it. I think it's a 50-50 chance he fights Morrell. I think from Al Heyman's perspective, it's like, like go fight this dude. Like, you know what I mean? But I think the pushback is from Benavidez' team, and I'll tell you, it's not going to be a good look if he doesn't fight him, bro, because he went from the bully pulpit to getting bullied. You know what I mean? By Morrell, and I think that dynamic has caught him off guard a little bit. They didn't see it coming. If you notice, Sampson went from sounding the drums of a Morrell fight to like all of a sudden, I don't hear it. Have you heard anything from Sampson?
No.
I'm doing the Hulk Hogan right now. I don't. Man, it's almost like they told him to shut up or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's almost like some calls were made and he was told to just, you know what I mean? That's what it sounds like to me, right?
Yeah.
But they went from sounding the drums, the drums of war. All right. The god Mars, the god of war, was all for it too. Like. Dum 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 morale, dum dum dum, we're coming for you, dum dum dum, Canelo don't want it, dum dum dum, we're coming for you, we're coming for the Cuban, boom 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 boom, boom 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 boom, and then like when Canelo signed with PBC, all of a sudden, I don't hear the drums of war. All of a sudden, there was never a contract for the fight. Well, we never signed anything. I mean, I'm just saying. Morale, what does he bring to the table? He doesn't bring anything. We went for the drums of war. We went from boom, 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 boom. We went from that, right? We went from the sounds of war with red flags, banderas rojas, you know what I mean, to the white flags that Nando's putting up. We went to the white flags and the little violence. Like, we never said we're going to fight the Cuba. We never said we'll fight the Cuba. We're singing for peace. We're singing for us. Let's hold hands. The same kumbaya, kumbaya, my friend. Didn't you hear like his dad was like, oh, I think it's good that Canelo signed with PBC. Everyone's going to eat. He brings so much to the table. It's amazing. PBC is going to make so much money. We're in a good place. So I don't know who will find my son, but it's so good for PBC. I prefer the sound of the war drums, bro. I don't know about you, but boom, 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 boom. Like even his fans, it's just kind of like they got neutered overnight, bro. I don't know what the fuck happened. Somebody tied their balls up and shit. Now all of a sudden, like even they're arguing that, oh yeah, it makes sense for Canelo to do this. Well, like maybe he should have by Benavides. Like Benavides doesn't sell pay-per-view, so maybe it makes sense. Like I'm like, what? You dudes are Benavides fans? You need some new fans, bro. Right? You need some fans to bring up the drums of war. All right? Like I didn't mind the fans saying Canelo's ducking and he's scared and all that. Like I love the banter. I want the sound of like I want the boom boom boom. Like I want the drums of war, bro. That's what I want. I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest with you, because even me, I'm saying Canelo needs to see Benavides next year. That's just my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not bringing themselves to say it. Like it's like they lose their voice. Like I think Canelo should he should fight. You need that bass back. You know what I mean? Like I think Canelo should fight Benavides, please.
It was more fun. It was more fun when they had
What's
the
going
bass.
on?
It was more fun when the chest was out, when they were saying it with their chest. It was just more fun.
I might pick up the drums next year. Just be like, boom, 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 boom. Come on, Canelo. Boom, come on, Benavides. Boom, boom, like I don't know. Like Samson shut up. His dad is praising Canelo all of a sudden. And Canelo's great for PBC. And he's excited about this Jermell fight. At least Tim Tszyu's honest. At least Tim Tszyu's like, what the fuck? Motherfucker, like, what, you made me wait for this? Like, you know, like Tim Tszyu's just being honest. Like, he's pissed off. Right? And I don't see, did you see a story on Instagram? He opened one of the fortune cookies and it said, like, you will choose the path of peace. But no, I pick the path of war. You know what I mean? Like, he wants war, bro. I'm just saying. What happened to the sound of the drums, bro? Like, they just, what the fuck happened? Like, boom, 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 boom. Like, Laura never did this shit. Laura didn't like, oh, yeah, if Canelo doesn't fight me, if he fights Angulo, that's okay. Like, he wasn't saying that. Like, Triple G wasn't, like, okay with all the moves Canelo made before he fought. Like, you don't do that. What are you doing? His own fans are saying that he's not a pay-per-view star, and that's why Canelo's not fighting him.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Pick those sticks up and play those drums. This shit ain't fun. What is this?
We liked you better when you played the drums. We liked you better.
Boom, 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 bah, bah, bah. Like they were talking like, yeah, he's scared. Boom, boom, boom. Well, why Canelo scared? Huh? Boom, boom, boom. And then now it's like they can't even finish it. They're like, well, I hope Canelo fights. Please.
It was sounding like Lionel Richie.
By the way, like shout out to like, and they're all over our last video. By the way, the Australian fans are mad, bro. Yeah. And look, we could have been drifters, and we could have gone along with the whole. Oh, Jermell's he's ducking. You know what I mean? We could have gone with that. We would have probably got a bunch of subscribers by the looks of it. But they're mad. But guess what? I'm proud of those fans. Like Tim should be proud of his fans because they're selling to the drums, bro. They're like boom, 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 boom. Like fuck Canelo, boom, 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 boom. He fucked up the fight. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean? Jermell scared. Boom, 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 boom. Like they're sounding the drums. They're behind their dude, bro. They're ready to go to war. You remember when Cotto should have fight I forget what was it, Margarito and Larry Merchant's like, look at their fans. They're like, I forgot what he said. Like they're like their armies are following their warrior to battle. You know what I mean? Like you're not following Benavides, bro. Like what's going on over here? At least Tim Tszyu, those dudes are going like those. I still hear the drums for that. Like Jermell's not going to hear the end of that shit. Like, you know what I mean? So it is from that side. So I'm just saying, sound the drums.
That's what we need, man. That's what we need.
Canelo fight Benavides, please.
It's like a little orphan.
Be a fight fan, bro. Say, you know what? Like, if you want to see the fight, say it. I want to see Canelo fight Benavides. What the fuck are you look at it from the business side and like, what are you doing? Like, call for the fight. Like, drop your fucking balls and ask for it. Come on.
It's like the little orphan asking for porridge. Can I have some porridge?
Like they're doing this, bro. They're like, okay, Canelo, it's okay. Like, have you seen Planet of the Apes? Like, what are you doing?
Shout out to what's my mother effing name, Tim Tszyu. He's behaving like a real one, and his fans are behaving like real ones. Shout out to them.
Could you imagine Canelo versus Tim Tszyu, by the way? Which is possible in a couple of years, maybe. But can you just imagine that? Like, say my motherfucking name. Hey, motherfucker. Don't talk about my mother, motherfucker. Like, you know that's going to happen. You know what I mean? And then Canelo, I don't know if Canelo could say Zoo. He'll say like Tszyu.
That was the weirdest thing. Is Caleb Plant just said mother effer, and Canelo just translated that to
don't talk about my mother, motherfucker. Whoa, man.
It escalated quickly.
And you know,
like, look, I wasn't talking about your mom. I wasn't talking about your mom.
I was talking about your mom, man. You know, like what the fuck? Everyone knew he wasn't talking about his mom. Like I just he's lost it and shit. I think Canelo was mad about the accusations that, or whatever you want to call them, because he was alluding that it was a drug cheat. It was this, and I think Canelo really got mad about that. You know what I mean? So he was just looking for a reason to like lash at him, and that's what it was. You know what I mean? Like you said, motherfucker, you're talking about my mother. Hey, motherfucker, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Then he did like a karate chop in his face. So
I love Canelo's English.
Say my motherfucking name. Look, motherfucker. Like don't say that, motherfucker.
His English is more aggressive than Scarface's English. Like it is just a thing of beauty when he gets.
I'm just trying to figure out how the Benavides fans went from I don't want to hear about no other fight, no excuses, no roadblocks, Benavides Canelo or nothing, to like, I mean, maybe he'll fight Benavides next year.
Maybe we should fight Munguia.
And they can't like maybe
next year, 2024.
Maybe if Canelo wants.
I put it 50-50, and I hope it happens. And guess what? Like we said, I think you're on the same page here. If Benavides and Morrell fight each other, beautiful fight. It is, man. I love that fight. Full credit to Benavides if he fights that fight. And it's a fight I'll buy. Is it historically something that should be on pay-per-view? No, but we are where we are, and I'd buy it. I like the fight. And that would be a good year, a really good year for Benavides, especially compared to the past if he beats Plant, who I think was number 3 when he fought him, and Morrell, who I think currently is number 4 in the ranking. So
you remember Jerry Maguire, by the way, really quick. You remember Jerry Maguire when like Jerry and his client, played by Goody Jr., whatever, like they hug at the end, and the one player tells his client, like, hey, why don't we have a relationship like that? You know what I mean? And he tries to hug him, like, get away from me. And like I think Benavides right now is looking at like Tim Tszyu and his fans. And he's looking at his fan. Like, well, why you like sound the drums like that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why guys like losing the base here? But what's going on right now? Well, fans like you, I gotta get this right.
So today we got a Jerry Maguire reference and we got a Fresh Prince reference. So this has been a great show. And I agree with this. Canelo Jermell, Benavidez Morel, Berlanga Munguia. Say it like Candyman. I agree. I'll say that multiple times. We already got one of them. Go ahead and make Benavidez Morel. And then Oscar, focus, Oscar. Focus in like Mark Kriegel focuses in on just the oddest things. Focus in on Berlanga versus Munguia.
Don't you want to know what type of dog Virgil has?
No. We need to get that out. I'm gonna text Trust Fund Eddie on Twitter. I'm gonna tweet him on Twitter and say, can we get? Can you tell DAZN? Can we get like a 5-minute cover, just a 5-minute thing on before the fight on Virgil's relationship with his dog? Let's try.
You know what? Every guest we have on from now on, I'm gonna ask him. Like we should have asked Glenn about if he has dogs.
Yeah,
or what the dog's name is, or what time does he feed the dog? Like I think people want to know those questions, bro.
It's the new Vasily Lomachenko juggling.
Well, that Genie Fuchs, I should have asked him. Like, I mean, does the pirate have a dog, or like, what's going on? You know what I mean? I should have asked.
I'm telling you,
or a parrot. Does she have a parrot? I need to know what the parrot says. Every guest for now, I have a prospect on Wednesday. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him about his dog. People want to know those questions.
It's going to be the new Muhammad Ali's grandson, Lomachenko juggling. Tiafimo's mental health issues. I'm telling you, Jared Anderson, book it. The next fight, they'll do at least 2 segments on his dog, Azul. And Azul will be there again. And you'll get at least 20 clips of Azul before the fight. I'm just telling you. So any final thoughts you got today?
All I'll say is, man, as fans, demand the fights you want to see, sound the drums. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop trying to look at things from a manager's perspective or the fighter's perspective. And they have their perspective. They're going to do that anyway, right? Fighters are going to see things from their perspective. The managers are going to take care of their fighters and all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, here's what I'll say, man. What are we other than fans? We're fans. That's what we are. Like you know what I mean? And I want to see the fights I want to see. Now, I like to be fair. I like to be like I wasn't the one saying it's Benavides or nothing. I was the one saying, look, as a fan, I know Canelo eventually gives me the fights I want. And I still believe that. I still believe that Canelo will fight David Benavides. I do believe that fight will happen. As long as Benavides beats Morale, or if the fight happens or not, I don't know. But Canelo has also proven that he doesn't necessarily, like, for all you guys saying, oh, you're forcing him to fight Morale. Like, okay, look. Canelo's also shown that he doesn't really force you to fight anybody before he fights you anyway. You know what I mean? So if he doesn't fight him, Canelo might fight him anyway. But I honestly believe that what a lot of these guys are missing, and you saw it in the planned fight, is experience at that high level. And a fight with Morale is going to give Benavides some experience, so something to work, like go back and look at and improve, and he can give Canelo a better fight due to that experience. There's a lot of things to look at, but I really need those Benavides fans to sound the drums, though. Yeah, it's not fun anymore without the drums.
You're right. And that's one of my criticisms of PBC fighters going into big fights, particularly big fights that are co-promoted, is they have an abysmal record in co-promoted fights, particularly at the top level, pay-per-view level fights. And it's because they don't have the big fight experience that other fighters have that are promoted elsewhere. They haven't sharpened their sword. They're limped into big fights. Inactivity. Mel is going to be how far inactive since his last fight? Spence is going to be how far inactive since from his last fight into the Bud fight? It's just a thing. It's a real thing. It's a problem. It's a glitch in their system, and they have several glitches in their system, and that's one of them. And that's why.
Look, I'll just leave you guys with this. So, like, how do we go from boom, 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 Canelo better fight Benavides, boom, boom? You know what I mean? Like, no excuses, no roadblocks, boom, 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 boom. How do we go from that to it's Benavides or nothing, Benavides or die? Benavides or we riot, you know, Benavides or we fucking tear down Las Vegas. And like, you know what I mean? Like, how do we go from that to we'll turn Vegas into France if we don't get this fight? How do we go from that, right? To like one love, one life, Canelo the PBC, so it's gonna be all right. How does this happen? Sound of drums.
If you were on The Voice, I would have hit and turned for you, by the way, today. Great voice, great singing. And that's one thing you get. That's one thing you'll get on our channels is great singing too. So but my wrap up would be Jared Anderson. He's a very marketable fighter. Great fighter, possibly very great fighter. We'll see. But there are some red flags there, and we'll see how that develops over time. ESPN needs to get better with their coverage. They need to streamline things. And also, you dudes, don't be out here later on in the week throwing up gang signs because you blew your fingers off from fireworks. Please be careful out there. I know how dudes are, and that's why I stick to the sparklers. I'm telling you. And there's no shame in my game. No shame in my game. When a dude tells me, hey, you know, Calix, you want to go light that, whatever y'all call them, M80s or whatever it is y'all blow up during 4th of July and New Year's Eve? No. My answer is always no. It will always be no. And I'm sticking to the sparklers. And that's would be my advice is stick to the sparklers and let dudes like me sleep. All right. I don't want to hear fireworks on July 5th at 2 a.m. I don't want to hear fire. You dudes are out here popping fire. Y'all turn 4th of July into, and I'm all for being patriotic, but you've turned the firework thing into a full week. All right. I don't want to see July 9th, you dudes still out there popping fireworks. All right. Y'all need to chill. All right. And make sure you light that stem and you get out of there. Light the stem and get out of there. All right. So
if anybody's got bottle rockets, send them to me.
On that note, we appreciate y'all rolling through today, and we'll be back on D-Styles channel Wednesday. That's Wednesday evening. Is that right?
Like I'm going to be popping fireworks all the way to 2 a.m. So you know what I mean? I'm just saying, okay? Yeah, look, we're popping fireworks. It's going to be fun, all right? And all that good stuff. But Wednesday around 7 or so. But just stay on the lookout, guys, and all that good stuff. And don't forget about the email to get on the email list and all that to get notifications. So.
Yep. And that's it. We
HCP Boxing Tribe at gmail.com.
Happy 4th of July to y'all. God bless. Peace.